What's going on, you guys? How's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for tuning back into another video. For today's video, I want to talk about my team, the Vancouver Canucks, and I want to talk about if they got better so far this offseason. There's obviously still some question marks surrounding the team, still some moves that probably have to get made and will get made, but so far into this offseason, oh my god, I almost said Jim Benning. Has Patrik Allvin done enough to make this team better for next season? If you guys would like to see more Canucks content and you guys are new to the channel, it would mean a lot if you guys subscribed and liked the video if you enjoyed. Lots more Canucks content on the way. Let's get into it. So let's start off with who we lost, okay? Because this might be significant to the future of this team and next season, and if we got better in general. So the Vancouver Canucks buyout OEL, I made a video about that. Do I think that was a good move? Yes, I do. To sum it up, long story short, I do think that was a good move for the team. Clearly, they want to get better. I can make a whole video about this and if they should rebuild or not, because everyone obviously thinks they should, but if they rebuild, they lose Petey and Hughes. I love Petey and Hughes, so it's like a tough situation. So I think them going for it, as long as they got Petey and Hughes, is a W in my books. Screw it. Why not? You got some of the best players this franchise have seen on your team, so why not go for it? So buying out OEL does make sense. We also lose Ethan Bear, which sucks. I mean, he got hurt, so if he was going to play, it was not going to be till like the new year. But I mean, it does suck. They could always sign him back. Remember that. Just because he is a free agent right now doesn't mean he doesn't want to be in Vancouver. Doesn't mean the Canucks don't want him. It just means they couldn't come to an agreement in time when free agency hits. So they could always still sign him again and to like a 1-year cheap deal, see if he gets better when he comes back from injury, and then renegotiate next year, which I think is probably the best move to happen. And we also lost Kyle Burroughs, which is kind of, if you look at it, like a not significant move, but also kind of is, because he's a right shot defenseman. We don't have a lot of them. I think he was really a fan fave. I liked him a lot. He's a local boy, so it does kind of suck to see him go, but I understand why they didn't re-sign him. Oh yeah, we also lost Kravtsov to Russia, which I don't think really changes much. He probably wasn't going to make our team anyways. He's probably going to go to the AHL, so it's fine if he goes over and plays in Russia. Now let's talk about who we brought in so far this offseason. We did re-sign Hoglander, we re-signed Juleson, and we re-signed Hirose. All three players I love on this team. Three players I could see making an impact in the NHL next year. We also signed Ian Cole, Carson Soucy, Teddy Blueger, and Matt Irwin, all to contracts, which is good in my opinion, and I will discuss why I think that. So let's start off with the center depth worry the Canucks had. Last year we had terrible center depth. We had Petey, Miller, then like Sheldon Dries and Aman, like just really bad center depth in my opinion. Like, I'm not saying those guys are bad players, but they're definitely not third line, and at the time they honestly probably were like barely fourth liners on a good team. They probably wouldn't be. So what did the Allvin do? They go out and they sign Teddy Blueger. In my opinion, Teddy Blueger is probably not even really a fourth liner. At most he is a fourth liner. I think they expect him to come in and play third line minutes. Now, that's something that does worry me a little bit. That's something Allvin seems to like to do, is he likes to get players that have played less roles in hope that they can play a more significant role. Obviously, if they can and they are capable of that, it looks like a really good signing and a really good deal, and it will, I mean, help the player in the long run as well. But if it doesn't, then it just looks like a swing and a miss. And in my opinion, going into this year, we can't really afford much swing and a misses. I'm going to be honest. Like, this is kind of a big season. Like, I genuinely think if we don't make the playoffs, we could lose Petey, and I obviously don't want that. So I am a little bit worried at him at the third center. I think if you pair him though, like I will say, if you pair him with somebody who can, I think, pot in some goals, maybe a guy like Podkolzin, if he gets his finishing up, and who knows, maybe Giuseppe or somebody there, because Giuseppe actually looked good last year and pot in some goals, had some offensive chances. If you pair them together, and I think you put Blueger with some people who can finish, maybe it'll help pad his stats. Maybe he will look a little bit better offensively, but there is no doubt about it. He is pretty good in the defensive end. He's also pretty good on the penalty kill, which is one thing the Canucks really wanted to address, which I fully understand. We had a terrible penalty kill, so I'm hoping next year going into it, I don't think Teddy Blueger is going to like change the needle that much and is going to like make us that much better, but I do think it helps and it takes some pressure off some of our big guys who were playing on the penalty kill last year. Now, I guess the big question mark here is, does defense seem better? And I'm going to be honest, it's like, this is going to be a really bad, lame answer, but I just don't know. Because sure, OEL was bad. Like, OEL was not good. And sure, he was making a lot of money, way more than he should be. And Ethan Bear, I thought, played a really decent season last year. I did not think Ethan Bear was bad whatsoever. So do you think that Soucy and Cole are an upgrade on OEL and Bear? It's just a tough way. It's just tough because, hear me out. So Carson Soucy was playing bottom pair for Seattle. Seattle's got really good defense. He's playing bottom pair. I think the Canucks are signing him. I mean, you don't sign a guy to like $3 million, 3 years if you don't expect him to really play in your top 4, in my opinion, especially with our defense. So I think Allvin got him to play in our top 4. The question then becomes the same question with Blueger: is can he play in a more significant role? I don't doubt that he can play that many minutes that comes at second line on defense. I don't doubt that whatsoever. It's just, can he do that well over a whole season? That's where I'm a little bit intrigued and nervous a little bit too. Because, like, don't get me wrong, these are all professional athletes. They can play more minutes. I don't think minutes are a problem for him. It's just over time. It's just doing it every single night over time. Is he going to be consistent at it? That's the part that I need to see. And if he is, he's easily an upgrade on OEL. And I think he's going to allow some other players to just really play well. Also, I think, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he plays both left D and right D. So that's also helps with flexibility. And one thing that this also improves our defense with is size. I felt like we had a really small defensive team last year. We got pushed around a lot, I felt like, and we just didn't have a lot of guys that made big hits. Like, we had Shen and Burrows. But I think adding Soucy, adding Cole, Hronik's a bigger dude. I think we're going to be just a bigger, harder to play against defensive core, which is exactly what we need. So the next biggest question for me is who plays with Quinn Hughes? Okay, like, you got a lot of players that could. You got Cole, Irwin maybe, Hronik, and then one underdog player that I could see is Juleson. I could actually see Juleson playing a significant role on this Canucks team. I don't know if that's going to happen. I just have this feeling that he plays on the right side. He plays physical. He's not terrible defensively. Like, I genuinely think he could be a good pairing for Quinn Hughes. Obviously, he's not a guy you want on your, like, top pair. But what if, like, we get Juleson just having a really good season, almost like a Brandon Montour type thing? Obviously, probably not near as good as Brandon Montour, but, like, the dude just came out of nowhere and started lighting it up. And what if we give Juleson the opportunity and he actually just plays really, really solid? It's a possibility. It's a risk, but it's a possibility. I like Ian Cole. He's really, really good defensively. I think he's somebody he's almost like a Chris Tanev. I can see he's just going to be somebody that you can pair with somebody else and you know he's going to lock it down on defense. Like, it doesn't matter who he's with. He's going to be able to lock it down defensively. I would like to maybe see him play some games with Quinn Hughes. I think he could do a good job. I worry if him playing too many games with Quinn Hughes, though, on that top pair, because Quinn plays a lot of minutes and Cole's a little bit on the older side. I think he can do it, but will it, like, wear him down throughout the season? That's another thing that I'm a little worried about. So my biggest thing is who gets traded. We're currently $4 million over the cap. I think if we put everyone on LTIR that's supposed to be, we're, like, just barely okay. But there's rumors that Pearson might be coming back. So if so, then we're still over the cap. So who gets traded? It's going to be a winger, but I think who actually gets traded and what comes in could be an interesting piece of development for this team going forward, and actually could change the way I think if we improved or not. So I'm very intrigued to see who it goes. I definitely think it's going to be a winger. I think there's almost no doubt it's got to be a winger. We have so many, to the point that, like, we have good guys playing on that third line that shouldn't be on the third line. They're second liners, but they're going to be playing on the third line because we have so many, which honestly, on a good team, that's good. But with the prices we're paying them, it's just too many good wingers getting money that's going to be playing on, like, insignificant roles, and we just can't have that. So did I think the Canucks got better this offseason? I think we did, but it's really, really close. I don't think we got that much better that we're, like, instantly a playoff team. I don't think that's close at all. I think we are almost just as good as we were last year, maybe slightly better, in my opinion. It's just going to come down to how these players play with Tocchet in a full season. So, I mean, fingers crossed they do well. But yeah, I think we got a little bit better. Let me know down in the comments your guys' thoughts. Do you think we've gotten better so far this offseason? Let me know. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you're new to the channel, let me know if you subscribed. Like the video if you enjoyed. I'll talk to you next one. Peace.